back to another sci-fi beatdown video with me, your perpetually stoned host, Zero. This week's episode is suggested to us by subscriber Comic Save. We're going to pit a squad of line Astartes from the Salamanders chapter against a squad of Concordiat Marines in their power armor. Now, I'm more than aware of the complete and utter lack of lore or technical data regarding Concordiat power armor. It's only referenced less than 5 times in the whole series. In fact, there's more technical data on the United States UTABs and railgun artillery pre-collapse than the power armor. So I'm going to extrapolate as far as specifications are concerned. We'll keep things grounded in the physics of the respective universes. Fortunately for us, they possess similar types of weapons, just on vastly different power scales. Firstly, let's look at the Astartes, or generic Supermarines from Spacemarine 40 million. And that's the only time I'm going to make this joke this whole video, so I'll just get it out of the way right now. So we're going to say the Sons of Vulcan.
Yes, yes, I did it. I am best forge, father.
Now your average Astartes, no fucking Primaris, we don't need any super Space Marines gumming up the works. Makes me pine for the days of Matt Ward pleasuring himself too thin times all over the Ultramarines. Any hoodle. The average line Astartes clocks in at around 8 foot to 8 foot 6, around 600 to 700 pounds out of armor, about 8 foot 6 and taller, and 1,700 pounds in armor. And for the love of fuck, these are averages, you 40k spaz cadets. So chill out or I'll send a sister of battle to come over and step on your cubes. You know what? Check that. You degens are probably just begging for a battle mommy to come over and discipline you. So I'm going to send a female Catachan come over to deal with you instead. Carrying on with averages, the Astartes will be running at about 35 to 45 kilometers per hour, even though lore says that they sometimes move faster, that's so fast the human eye can't see. But that just doesn't make a lick of goddamn sense, so we're just going to stick with the actual numbers I've seen, which is 35 to 45 kilometers per hour on the average. They're going to be able to lift 5 times their body mass, have multiple redundant organs, and are functionally immortal. If you're new to 40k, just YouTube search Space Marines and you'll find no shortage of contradictory info. But do yourself a favor and avoid one mind syndicate unless you're looking for, a cure to insomnia. Moving on, Concordiat power armor. Given the total lack of info, I had to go to the Space Battle forum boards. Now, the best anyone figures out on these, they're fusion-powered beasts, with the closest visual analog being the Yggdrasil armor from Halo. The differences being shoulder-mounted plasma lance and a 2cm armor-piercing power rifle. Comes with power fists and anti-personnel guns mounted on the gauntlets. Mono-permeable battle screens in the latest models, advanced sensor suites, and nanotech auto repair functions. Now, from what I understand, the auto repair isn't instantaneous. It requires the unit to be idle for prescribed time to allow the suit to begin rebuilding itself, as well as be near resources to do so. Now, Concordiat plasma weapons are deuterium-based fusion pulse cannons, capable of burning a hole clean through a 500-ton tank like tissue paper. The 2cm power rifle is an auto-tracking powered coil gun. It fires hypervelocity armor-piercing rounds at a cyclic rate of 740 rounds per minute. The gauntlet guns fire caseless hypervelocity flechettes that are capable of burning themselves into the cracks and spaces in armor plates, and then tearing through flesh like it's nothing, again at the same cyclic rate. The reason I chose these numbers was due to the fact that the average standard of automatic weapons. Despite more ammo going downrange being better, governments and militaries deliberately design the weapons with reduced fire rates to prevent waste of ammunition and resources. Premature wear and tear guns on, well, because, parts are a pain in the ass to change in the field. And coming up are our uber-friendly boys in green, the Salamanders.
Yes, yes, I did it. I am best forge, father.
We'll be using bolters, bolt pistols, wrist-mounted flamers, melter grenades, crack grenades, combat knives, and a thunderhammer because Salamanders.
Yes, yes, I did it. I am best forge, father.
Bolters and bolt pistols are essentially mag-fed automatic RPG launchers that have several ammunition types from mass reactive to armor piercing. If you need help explaining what a flamer is, seek help somewhere else. Melter grenades are anti-armor grenades that have a violent microwave explosion that melts things. Crack grenades are essentially your standard HEDP grenades, high explosive dual purpose. And our hammer is a giant effing hammer that fires a disruptor pulse when it hits effectively anything. Alright now, so we've described our combatants and what they're bringing to the fight. Let's lay down the ground rules for this. As I stated earlier, no Primaris, no Librarians, no resupply, no orbital support. Victory is last man standing. Our scenario will begin thusly. On a former Melkonian world, a 5-man Marine squad is moving to extraction after completing their mission. As they approach the crest of the last hill, before their transport, their sensors go haywire and a purple glow can be seen, followed by the unmistakable sound of a transport exploding. Their sensors pick up 5 distinct unknown signatures. They advance to gain eyes on and make contact. At 300 meters, all combatants can see each other. The Salamanders believe they are facing the Tau based on what they see with the power armor. Bolter rounds spank off of the battle screens as the Concordiat Marines bound to cover, returning fire. Armor-piercing rounds strike a Salamander, relieving him of his head. The Concordiat Marines, seeing the absolute menacing state of their foes and how dangerous they are, they move to draw them out and keep them at distance so they can snipe them using their plasma lances. Salamanders split into 2 groups. 2 lay suppressive fire so the other 2 can close the distance and engage at close quarters. 2 Concordiat Marines move to draw fire to let the rest of their team snipe the hostiles. It works, kind of. Both center mass shots cut through their armor, but only get the primary hearts. The Salamanders are wounded and have heavily damaged armor, but are still partially combat effective. They toss their melted charges at the 2 Concordiat Marines, as the 2 Marines unload their power rifles. Both groups are mutually killed. The last 2 Salamanders engage the 3 Concordiat Marines in a narrow defile that keeps them from effectively using their shoulder-mounted guns. A brutal melee ensues. The one Salamander takes the legs out from a Concordiat Marine with his thunder hammer, and then brings it down, crushing his head with a second blow, as the other 2 Concordiat Marines tear the other Salamander in 2, not before he places his last melta on a Concordiat Marine, taking them both out together. The last Marines face off, power fist versus power hammer. The Salamander takes a swing, and the Concordiat Marine catches it in his fist. They struggle as the Concordiat Marine fires his wrist gun to distract the Salamander temporarily. He wrests the hammer free and proceeds to pummel the Salamander to the ground before backing off to engage with his lance. Victory to the Concordiat Marines. Now I'm going to say 8 times out of 10 the Concordiat Marines will probably take it in a head-on match. The Space Marines, despite being OP as hell, are geared towards a different style of warfare. Both sides have ample experience in combat, an order of magnitude more destructive than what we know today, but I feel the technical edge the Concordiat Marines feel outstrips any physical advantage that the Space Marines are going to have, even in experience. But that's just this geek's opinion. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and I'll see you guys on the next battlefield. Peace.